A will is a legal document in which a person, in bracket, the testator, declares their intentions as to what should be done or happen to their estate after their demise, and which is executed in accordance with certain legal formalities. Under the law of England and Wales, a will must be executed in accordance with the Willis Act 1837 as amended by subsequent acts. In order for a will to be valid, it must meet certain criteria. Hello everyone, welcome back to Ifechi family. Today I'm discussing will writing and the need for us to have a will. Yesterday I uploaded a video on my other channel, Ifechi Health and Wellness. There I covered critical illness insurance and also serious illness insurance covers. If you have not watched that video, please go to my Ifechi Health and Wellness channel and watch that video after this one. I'll either put the link on description or somewhere up left or right side for you to click at the end of this video to watch that one, because it's very important for you to watch that video. In that video, I also described or told you, shared with you the type of insurance that I have that is very, very good to have. So you don't want to miss that video. But today, we're talking about will. Something that most people, especially people from my background, shy away from talking. They don't want to discuss will. Because some of them think that once you start talking about writing a will, it means that the person is going to pass away soon. No. I know that we all want to live to 100 and something years. Yes, of course. That means that I've got about 40 something years myself to go. 40, yeah, something years for me to go. So yes, wonderful. I'm looking forward to another 40 years on earth, but we have to be realistic. Making a will does not mean that you're going to pass away. So let us get that out of our minds. It means that you are going to have peace and the people you are going to leave behind will have peace and not be fighting over what you have left or what you have not left. Because of the way, because there was nothing written down, there's nothing documented, so they don't even know what is going on. Let us consider this it's very important. As for me and my husband, we made our wills over 20 something years ago. Now we've had a will for so many years, and then it's being renewed. Maybe it's advisable to renew it or to review it every 3 to 5 years or thereabout, just to make sure that everything is still as you want it. And if you want to tweak anything, add anything or remove anything, you can do so. And it does not cost so much. That's the good news. It does not cost so much to draft a will and for you to have a will. No. And you get the advice from experts who are, experts in will writing. I'm only giving you this information, just basic information. If you really want to write have a will and obviously know about will, go to specialists in will writing. There are so many of them. If you check in your area where you live, you get them. If you put in there what you want, the names will come up and you can choose the one you want. So I've said what will is, and then I mentioned there are certain criteria to be met before you can be eligible to write a will. Number one, will must be made by somebody who is over 18. You have to be 18 years or older to be able to write a will, to have a will. Second one, it has to be made voluntarily, and without pressure from any other person. You should not coerce anybody into writing a will or what to put in the will. It has to be done voluntarily. Number 3, will must be made by somebody who is of a sound mind. It's not when somebody starts going a little bit and they can't remember things and you want to force them to, maybe even do it yourself and make them to sign or something. No, that's against the law. It must be made by somebody who is of a sound mind. That's why I'm emphasizing on the fact that it has to be done as soon as possible, when you are all with it and know exactly what you want. Number 4, will must be made in writing. There's nothing like, oh, when he or she was alive, they told me this or they said that. Everything has to be made in writing and documented, because it's a legal document. It's not something you say. It's something you have to be written down and put in a secure place. 5, the will must be signed by the testator, which is the person writing the will, in the presence of 2 witnesses. 6, it must be signed by 2 witnesses in the presence of the testator, which is the owner of that will, and obviously in the presence of each other. So these are the 6 things that needs to be met before a will is confirmed as authentic. What happens if someone passes away without writing a will? Now I'm talking about where I live, which is in UK. I've lived in this country for a long time, so I don't even know what happens in other places. But here in the UK, from the basic thing I know, again, ask the people who write the will, they can tell you any other information you need to know. But from my knowledge, when one passes away without writing a will, if it's a husband passes away or vice versa, if they have not written any will, everything goes to their spouse. If there are children involved, the only time they will get something is if there's a huge amount of money, be over 270,000 from what I saw last. Then some can now go to the children. Otherwise, everything goes to the spouse that is left behind. You see what I mean? So it's important, if you have children and so on, make sure that you write a will, say how you want things to be done when you pass away. There's a sad situation where the husband and wife passed away in an accident. They have young children. There was no will. So nobody knows what they actually wanted if anything happens to them, because nobody, in your wildest dream, you don't even think about that both of you may actually pass at the same time without your children. What's going to happen to them? There was nothing. So those children were, yes, their money obviously will go towards bringing up those children automatically, because whether they have written a will, but they have children. So whatever they have will go towards bringing up the children. But there was nothing in the will to say who they want to bring up their children, and how the money will be used for their children, and on things like that can be quite distressing for the children that are left behind. Also, when there's no will written, remember now, people may marry and something happens and they divorce and they marry another person, and in their previous marriage they had children, in their new marriage they also have children. If you don't put the names of those your children in your will, there will be a huge problem when you pass, because these children will be claiming that, oh, my mom was the first wife to my dad, and they shouldn't. And there will be huge problem. Even siblings from the same parents have issues when their parents pass away. Never mind when you have ones from different moms or dad, because something happened, divorce happened, they have to marry again, and they have to have children in other places. To avoid all this drama and all this heartache and all this bitterness when you're gone, it's better for you to have a will and specify there what you actually want to happen in your absence. It helps you to, when people pass away, people say to them, rest in peace. For you to rest in that peace that people say to people, rest in peace. For you to rest in peace, you need to start making that peace here on earth by making sure, one way to make that peace is making sure that you have proper will written down, so that the people you leave behind will be at peace, and you also. I cannot overemphasize on the fact that we need to make a will. I've spoken to people from my background, and most of them, even similar to my age group or a bit younger, and they have children who are growing up, they don't have a will. And I'm like, why? And the reason being that, we don't, I have to sit them down and say, look, this is the reason why you should have a will. People have a will and they still live up to their late 90s and into their hundreds. So it doesn't mean anything. All it means is that you have your house in order, your family in order before you pass away. Please, let us consider writing a will. I know it's a subject that people don't want to discuss, but it needs to be discussed.